7:35. Let's check in with Senator Roy Blunt. Senator, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, McGraw, good to be with you. I understand Kelly is with you this morning as well, and I don't imagine I can handle both of you, so this is probably the high point. This is probably the high point of my morning right here.
Good morning, Senator.
Sad game last night.
Yeah, how about that? As a senator, can't you do anything about that?
You know, it's a great ball club with a lot of young ball players, and we've seen some of that in the series. But I'm still a believer. I think it's possible we go back to Fenway and do what needs to be done. I was there Saturday night. Never saw a game end quite like that, and I wasn't there the next night, but I also never saw a game end with a series game end with a pickoff at first. So it's been a wild series with two really good ball clubs. I mean, you got to hand it to the Red Sox. They are ball players, but we are too, and our guys are going to be around for a long time.
Yeah, let's talk about sad news this morning. We wake up to the news that Ike Skelton passed away.
You know, what a good friend of mine, and what a good guy for our state. Nobody, really in his generation, I think, certainly in the Congress, did more for the military, for those who defend the country or the defense of the country, than Ike Skelton. And in our state, Fort Leonard Wood and Whiteman Air Force Base, both are testaments to his focus and dedication. And I was with him just a couple of weeks ago, at the rededication of the Jackson County Courthouse, and he was frail, but he was still in good spirits and gave a fine speech that day, and I will miss Ike Skelton. He's a guy that I could always rely on for good advice and was always a friend of mine.
So it's interesting, you being a Republican, him being a Democrat, such fine words. It was it seems like it was a time when the two sides could actually work together.
Well, that's right. And, you know, our delegation has always worked pretty well together. We started getting together every month about 10 years ago. I began to host a monthly meeting, and House members still do that, and Senator McCaskill and I join them most of the time. And it's a delegation that's always worked together, and Ike was an important part of that. And I think Missourians would be proud of us looking particularly at the things that just affect our state. There is seldom a moment when all the House members and the two senators don't figure out how to get together to try our best to make something happen for Missouri. And then there are plenty of national things to argue about, but I think a lot of people have always seen our delegation as a model of trying to get along about the things we can get along. An important part of that, and so are the current members of the House who were just over at my office a few days ago.
Let's talk about the Affordable Care Act and all of the problems with the websites. What are you hearing?
You know, the website's a mess, but the website's actually the easiest thing that they're ever going to be asked to do, and the website will eventually work. I mean, the stunning thing about the website is that it doesn't work. All the money, all the effort, surely the administration, knowing that this was a critical moment for the president's signature health care plan, and it'll work. What I am a little concerned that somehow when the website works, people are going to say, oh, well, that's it. Obama's health care plan now works. I think people are going to find lots of problems in their own health care based on what the government's now trying to do, but we're going to know that pretty soon. You know, this is one of those deals where the proof is going to be in the pudding, and people are going to find out, the people getting their notices right now, that their policy is just not good enough to meet the new standards. The key, I think, McGraw and Kelly, is it was good enough for them. It was what they could afford. It was what they thought they needed. They knew whether they needed maternity coverage or not. They knew whether they could afford to pay the first however much amount of money or not. And this idea that, well, the reason they aren't going to have their plan anymore is it's just not, they're now going to have a better plan that maybe is going to cost twice as much money. I don't think for most families that's going to turn out to be a very good thing. And we see what's happening at the workplace because of these new health care requirements, more part-time workers, big companies that have always provided help with spousal coverage and family coverage announcing they're not going to do that any longer because for whatever reason. And You know, when the government gets involved, not only in 16% of the economy, but people's health care, the government had darn well better know what they're doing, and I think we're going to see the law of unintended consequences over and over again as this plan now launches.
Senator, Republicans have been criticized for criticizing this plan, but not having any other great ideas in place of this plan.
Well, Kelly, I think that's just not accurate. There are lots of ideas that have been out there. I've been advocating a number of things. In fact, one of the ideas, the most popular thing in the plan, where people up to 26 could stay on their parents' health care if they chose to. That was a bill I introduced in the House. No Democrat introduced that bill, and they incorporated it into the plan, and I think it insures a lot of people that weren't being insured otherwise. But things like buying across state lines, medical liability reform, more transparency where hospitals and doctors report on what they do, what their results are, and what they charge for it, are the kinds of things that could have made the old healthcare system work better. High-risk pools that are going away now. In our state, 4,500 people that have been on the state high-risk pool will have to go into another plan December 1 because they know they need the coverage. And one of the things I think the unintended consequences of this faulty startup is the people that have to have insurance are going to stay on the website as long as they need to. But the healthy people who were wondering whether they really wanted to do this or not are going to give up earlier than people. So you've got you've changed the mix of people getting health care perhaps to what it would have been.
Senator Roy Blunt, we're going to have to leave it there. Senator Roy Blunt, as always, a pleasure. When you're in town, make sure you stop by and pick up your mail. It's starting to stock up here.
Well, I like to come by, and I'll come by and see what the mail looks like before too long.
Senator Roy Blunt, be safe, and thanks for checking in, sir. 7:42 here on the Big 550 KTR.